Okay, and we are live, all the way live. Welcome to another thrilling, inspiring, magical, court-ordered office hours where I tend to the needs of my bastard vocal children. Thank you for coming through. I'm going to try to figure out a way. Okay. And hello, Roger Things, and hello, Rika. Eureka. That's a Homestar Runner reference. You should watch. I can't remember which Strong Bad email he says Eureka, but he says like Eureka. So feel free to post your questions in Discord. I'm seeing, according to the reacts, that there's another set of questions on Stack Exchange where you can get priority if you put your questions. Let me see if there's some questions in here. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm at 2 events, but I think people are catching on. I mean, someone can say like, it's happening now. Let's see if there's any questions in the, no questions yet. Okay, Stack Exchange questions are coming first. Sign up for Stack Exchange. Talk to one of the mods. Okay. What is resonance and how does it work? Resonance doesn't work, the end. So resonance is a concept of a sound reverberating in a particular quote-unquote resonating chamber in the voice. The pharynx, which is the space in between the back of your mouth and the back of your nasal area and the top of the entry into your windpipe, that kind of like back chamber. The pharynx can be a resonating chamber. The mouth is a resonating chamber. The nose is a resonating chamber. Usually the nasal sinus is not the actual nostrils are technically a resonating chamber, but they're not important. Like getting a nose job doesn't change your voice. And yeah, there's all kinds of resonating chambers. So resonance is the description of sound qualities that are instilled by how the sound reverberates. Like if you've ever been in a big building and you shout and it echoes, that's because of how the sound reverberates in that space. So you get different reverberations inside those different spaces, and those alter the sound in some ways depending on how you change the volume of those spaces, how you change the length of those spaces, how you change the, trying to think of a word besides flaccid. I mean, I guess I already said flaccid, but how you change like the flaccid versus tenseness, I guess relaxedness versus tenseness of the muscles controlling those spaces. Those will all affect your resonance. The reason why I use resonance as a meme half the time on my server, like Get the Child Support Resonance, is resonance is often used to try to be the source rather than the effect. Like you should use resonance to figure out how to quote unquote sing properly. But resonance is an effect. Like feeling a sound resonate in a particular chamber of your body is an effect, and often a subjective effect. That's the effect of using your voice a certain way. So asking people to change the cause of their voice by looking at the effects is like asking somebody to run by sweating. Sweating is an effect of running. You can't use sweating to learn how to run. So you shouldn't use resonance to try to learn how to sing. So that is all for the new questions on Stack Exchange. You throw behind as hell, and here I was about to do the Yodel song for you. You're not even here. Ain't no questions. Nobody has questions. I guess I'll go over some of the Stack Exchange classics if none of y'all have questions. Or talk about some of the, Danny, is that Danny with a question? By the way, this is also live on Discord as well if you want to join the server. No, you're not too stupid for questions. If you're stupid, get less stupid by asking questions. It could all be so simple. Yeah, resonance. Okay, so Dakota is elaborating that all resonance isn't necessarily placement. Yes, there are different interpretations of resonance. Resonance can be the sound qualities, the different actual like frequency shifts that you see on a spectra of a recording of a voice. So that is one particular, what's a stack exchange? Somebody hook Claire up with the stack exchange. But all these different definitions of resonance, I feel like, are tied to the same thing. And no matter which definition of resonance you're using, even if you're talking about the spectral definition of resonance, that is still an effect rather than a cause. So if you're trying to teach someone to modify a vocal behavior, you should look at the cause, not the effect. You're trying to teach somebody to modify any behavior, you should teach them the cause of that behavior, not the effect. So even if you want to look at different like resonances on a spec, it's still the same answer. Yeah, so resonance in common parlance. Thank you, Dakota, for reposting the Stack Exchange link. Yeah. So Chloe says, I've been wanting to write a resonance not about feeling vibration post on Trans Voice or Trans Voice, but I don't even know where to start, and there's so much stuff that's wrong. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Okay, so yeah, I'm very, I guess, I'm not the most descriptivist, but I'm relatively descriptivist when it comes to language. So if a lot of people are going to start using resonance to mean placement, I don't think it's totally illogical. It's not my favorite, but it's not totally illogical. So I'm not going to rebuke that in and of itself. But what I more rebuke is the usage of you need to feel the sound in your head in order to have a correct sound, because it's so subjective. Like you don't know where you'll feel. Oh my God, I'm screaming. You don't know where you'll feel a given sound. Okay, so Roger Things says, dude, I've been really struggling to get better at singing in M1. When I start to sing, my throat starts to compress, and I don't know why. Compression can be a lot of different things. A lot of things that can compress in the vocal tract, especially inside the throat. You have the vocal folds that can contract. You have the false folds that can contract. You have the areoglottic sphincter that can contract. You have the epiglottis that can kind of contract and cover your vocal tract. And you have, I know there's more. I can't think of anything more right now. But there are so many things in the vocal tract that can contract. That's in the name. So it helps to first pinpoint what you think is contracting. In general, if you feel like you are contracting too much, like if you're compressing too much, a good one-size-fits-all drill is to yawn. Yeah, that'll help release a lot of tension. You can yawn into whatever sound you're trying to do. So you can try to like yawn down into M1 and then take that nice relaxed M1 up to where you are compressing. Oh my God. No, Chloe, you're not a prescriptivist full-fledged yet. Okay, any other questions? Oh my God, not that question. Okay, on Scinguistics, I keep saying laryngeal height discussed as a separable component from height and pitch. How would you raise pitch without raising your larynx? So there are several variables that influence pitch. There's a formula posted somewhere on the Discord, but there's several different theorems for computing the physical parameters that will give you a certain pitch. But I think in all of those formulas so far, the most important variables are the stretching of the vocal folds and the subglottal pressure. It's a mitigation of several different variables, but larynx height is by far not the most important variable in that. So, like, I can have a lower larynx height and I can slide up in my range and maintain a lower larynx. So, low larynx the entire time. I can do the same with the high larynx. If larynx height and pitch weren't separable, then those pitch glides wouldn't sound different. And I think 9 out of 10 hearing people will say that those sound different. And the reason why they sound different is because pitch can be divorced from larynx height. Larynx height is more about the shape of your vocal tract. It doesn't necessarily command what your vocal folds are doing. And your vocal folds are the most important thing to determining your pitch. So if you have your vocal folds vibrating at a certain speed, larynx height doesn't necessarily change that or cease that from being possible. I don't know if cease. Cease is a transitive verb. I don't think people usually use cease as a transitive verb anymore. Okay, so how do I increase my resonance? F. Okay. You don't increase your resonance. I don't know if you're making a joke or not, but okay, no, you're making a joke. What a vocal fold. Nope. Trying to take a piss. So. Oh my God, I love that song. Really? None of y'all have questions? All these people here, nobody with real questions, Grammar Nazi. Wait, actually, are you not kidding? Or somebody vouch for Grammar Nazi. Tell me Grammar Nazi isn't one of y'all hoes trying to ruin my stream. Okay. Sorry. You're fine if you're not actually trying to troll, but sometimes people will ask like really, really, really spurious questions. Like they will ask, why is my larynx purple? Like they'll just ask a question that is based on a false premise. And resonance is not a thing to think about increasing. You can't really increase it in any constructive way. That's like, how do I increase my name? Like you can't. Oh my God! You can't increase your name. You can't increase your race. It's the same with resonance. Resonance is a qualitative thing, not a quantitative. So you can't increase resonance. And vocal folds, the wobbly bits that make different pitches in your throat. Girl, no. We're about to find out the answer to who hurt you, because I'm about to hurt Chloe if she really tried to ask me that question. How do I increase my race? Fight the power. Oh my God, just because I'm Black doesn't mean it's lean. Now this is lean. No, it's not lean. It's an energy shot. Holy shit, this is unopened. I thought this was the open one. Where'd I put the open one? Because I know I didn't take no full shot. This is mommy's go-go juice. This is how I put up with these children. Faster, longer runs. For making runs faster, I think repetitive roulades, like quick riffs that you do over and over and over and you drill for speed are good. So you have like the one note roulade, which is like, I can usually go like a little bit faster than that, but I'm feeling lethargic today. And then they're like level 2. And you want to train it not just for like, oh, I'm moving fast, gotta go fast. You want it to be intelligible. Like you want people to hear every single note in that. Like you don't want to, you want to be like, and not, like that. Yes, that has some combination of those notes. in like the DNA of a turkey leg in there, but it's not recognizable as a distinct pattern of notes that I'm intending. So you want to practice as fast as you can go while still maintaining intelligibility. I'm definitely not a true language. Everything about voice? Yes, Danny, I will cover any question you ask me about voice. That is not bad. Yeah, something like I can't answer super in-depth questions on this because like it requires information that I don't have about you because I can't hear you. And I don't want to keep it democratic so everybody can ask their questions. So if you're interested in figuring out more, definitely send clips of yourself on the server, consider voice lessons. But if it's not going away with yawning, you might want to figure out what kind of strain is happening and why. Oh, why people stutter? I really don't know a lot about why people stutter, Danny. Oh, sorry, I skipped over. I am scared, Grandma Nazi. You are scaring me, Grandma Nazi. Language influence singing. It does kind of. Okay, let me answer Danny's questions, then I'll hop back up. I don't know why, but like I'll look away and look back, and there's 15 more questions. Or maybe because I don't look down often enough. So I can look into different forms of stuttering. But what I do know about stuttering is that it is tied to certain, well, not is, but often is tied to certain areas of the brain. I'm not sure if there's just like one cause of stuttering. And there's certain speech areas of the brain, like the Broca's area and the Wernicke's area, that you can sort of reroute from while you're singing. So a lot of people that stutter can sort of sing around their stutter, and stroke victims do this as well when they're trying to regain normal speech. But you can sort of sing and then take out a lot of the singing elements from that, like take out a lot of the pitch variation and make the singing sound more and more like talking until you can just like sing in your brain and have it come out like talking, and you can reroute around the stutter. Other therapies for stutter often include, like, there's these things that play yourself in your own ears, like this weird sort of like self-hearing aid that I think forces you to pace a little bit more slowly. But I don't know in terms of what causes stutter. I'm rusty on that level of stuff. But yeah. Yeah, right. Because it's a reroute. Yes, T-Nice, it is true that anyone can learn how to sing. I definitely was not born being able to do any of the stuff I can do with my voice now. And now it pays my bills, unlike science that never loved me. So how does language influence singing? Your native language is Ruskom. If I look up Ruskom and that's not Russian in Russian, I don't know if I'll answer this question. Okay, no, that's triggering a lot of Russian. Okay, maybe you're real. Maybe you're real. So I get a lot of trolls on these streams, so I just gotta make sure. Native language can influence, because accent does change how we hear things a little bit, how we interpret the quality of someone's voice, what kind of person someone is. So it can influence singing in that way, but doesn't influence like your range or basic abilities. What will often affect that in terms of your vocal abilities is the paralinguistic features of your linguistic community. So if you are part of a certain language community, yes, you'll learn that language, but also in that community, maybe more people are raspy. Maybe certain people in that community tend to be raspy. Maybe they tend to have clean voices. Like in African-American vernacular English, in Ebonics, or like Black people slang, men tend to use M2 more as a means of expressing themselves. Like say, what type of thing. And that might have some correlation with like African-American men using M2 more in their singing, and they tend to be a bit more proficient with M2 than their white counterparts. So it's possible that certain paralinguistic features of what you do in your language like ways that you use your voice inside your language can influence how people from a certain linguistic community sing. But it's definitely very divorceable. Like you don't have to be from that linguistic community to be good at those things. Okay. So Tom Millie asks, how much do false folds affect singing even when not doing distortion? I ask because I find when I belt, I like to kind of be on the edge of distortion, but not really disting. Dis is actually a thing like that is used in scientific literature. Are they only engaged when distorting? It depends on what your definition of distortion is. Now I got the stutter. It's contagious. What have you done to me? So distortion, as I define it, is the point where an aperiodicity, so something that your vocal tract doesn't normally do when the vocal folds are vibrating. So another like sound that's being generated, another I guess source of spectral energy besides what's being done with the vocal folds is being generated. When that starts to compete with the audibility of what your actual vocal folds are doing, that's when I call it distortion. So like you can have fry rasp. So this is a fry rasp where it's like, it's audible, but you can tell what note I'm hitting. But then when it gets to fry distortion, it's like, fry distortion! Like you can't really tell as clearly what note I am doing because the fry really competes with the audibility of the actual note. So in false fold rasp, I might call that something like, this is a false fold rasp, like where like you hear them vibrate a little bit, but it's not completely overpowering the actual sound of the vocal folds. So you can have the rasp as opposed to the full distortion, and the false folds are still activated for the rasp. So like this would be the full false fold distortion, where the false folds are completely almost absconding the actual note that I'm hitting with my vocal folds. So you can use them for rasp as well as the distortion, and you can also use them to produce what I call aspirate rasp. And that's a sort of like wheezy kind of rasp, like this. And you can use that to lesser degrees and have it sound a little bit like Macy Gray's voice often leans into that. Like, I try to say goodbye and I choke, try to walk away and I stumble. So that uses the false folds as well to sort of further compress the air as it's released by the vocal folds. There's a really good video by, oh, thank you, John, for the compliment on my hat. There's a really good video by Mal Webb, who is my daddy, and he doesn't know it yet. Mal Webb, who does a stroboscopy, and one of the phases of the stroboscopy, like he shows you inside his throat, I can't remember what he calls it, maybe old man voice or wheezing voice, but he shows this effect of the constriction of the false folds while air is allowed to pass through the true folds. And it gets that kind of raspy hoarse sound. So yes, they can affect the sound. They can also give a sense of tension, which that's a more detailed thing. I'll probably get into it next. Hans Holtz, feel free to ask your question. Oh, you're welcome, Danny. Check my Discord messages. I feel like you've messaged me before, but I'm not seeing a message history. Okay. Am I allowed to play this on the stream? In general, I think I might want to limit, if things get like hectic, I might limit the amount which I will listen to clips of people, because it gets like tedious with got to download it, got to play it. Are people okay with me playing their stuff on the live stream? It's a lot to juggle. By your side, next to you, and make sure you're all right. Okay, so what I hear in there, I don't hear anything that's like wrong. But then again, even if you were straining, that can be stylistic. Like you can strain without truly straining. Are they all, oh, okay. Are they always working in the background? No, I wouldn't say they are always heavily impacting your sound. Outside like the false fold, aspirate rasp, and the distortion and the false fold rasp when they're moving or whatever. And there's also something that I call false fold muffle that they can do outside of you activating, like constricting them at rest. I don't think they heavily impact the sound of your voice. Thank you, Dakota, for managing the trolls. Okay, so Roger thinks I listened to your clip, and the only things I could hear that could potentially be strained are you're singing this sort of like nice, rich baritone range, but when you I cannot, I don't have it right now. 404 baritone range not found. But when you start singing low in that part of M1 or chest register called grave, that aspect of your voice, the vocal folds can be sort of sucked in together and tighter on each other. So if that's like all you're comfortable singing in, it might be because like you don't know how to let go and let your vocal folds move a little bit further apart from each other. So that's one potential thing. And the back of your tongue is occluding the sound a little bit. Like, can I lay by your side? What's that? Can I lay by your side? Can I lay by? There's like a little bit of thickness coming from the back of your tongue. And sometimes people can feel that as strain. But it's like, if you don't hate the sound and it doesn't hurt you, then there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, I would look into those. Yes, Chloe, they can be both a source and filter. The false folds can be both a source and a filter. As in like when I do diplophonics with the false folds. So like a type sound, and I'm making, I have to blow out so much to do that. So when I am blowing with my thrusty, blowing with my thrusty, getting those false folds moving all at the same time, they become a source. So they generate a pitch that contributes to like the pitch that you hear when the sound leaves my mouth. But they can also filter the sound by constricting and not necessarily generating their own unique pitch. How can you get your hat like that if you're bald? Take scalp steroids, get those scalp gains. Who is Des? I don't. Oh my! No! Don't do that! Don't do that, Grammar Nazi. Huh? Yeah, if you're comfortable in M2 and you don't strain in it, it honestly would take like a little bit more extended work to figure out. Is there any question? Okay. Oh my God, stop. So yeah, this seems like a more in-depth question, which I can give you like some pointers on this, but ultimately this is something you should like be asking about and working on sort of continually. Because I don't know if you'll be able to get the full answer, Roger, to your question about like trying to be more loose in M1 all in one fell swoop, because there's more that needs to be discussed. So like, are you trying to belt in M1? Are you trying to sing like a little bit above that baritone range in M1? We still need to figure out where exactly you are experiencing this compression. If it's compression of whatever folds, is it something that bothers you and feels uncomfortable, or is it something that you perceive as being wrong? Is it like a stylistic sound thing? There's all these kinds of variables. So I think it takes some time of really acclimating yourself with the terminology, because what you're looking for is like a little bit more advanced. and I can't help you if I don't fully understand what you're getting at. So I would like do some research into terminology on the server and see if you can figure out what exactly your specific need is. Okay, how do you not strain your whistle tones and increase your head vocal range? So how do you not strain whistle? By the time, okay, give me 1 second, I need to get some water. Don't take antihistamines. I brought out these antihistamines and I don't know if I took some. We'll take 2. So I feel my throat closing. Thank you for the compliment to my hat. So my mom made it and she made me. I think I'm the cuter thing of the two, but so how do you not strain your whistle tones and increase your head voice range? So before going into whistle, you should have a full head voice range. In an ideal world, I would like people to have a consistent E6 in head voice before starting to work on whistle, because whistle will cannibalize your head voice and make it worse if you're not done with head voice. I won't get into all the details because this is a Q&A, not a lesson, but just trust me, just take my word on it. Like, ask anybody here, because all these hoes be trying to be track stars and run their way through voice all out of order. So they can tell you some of the consequences of working on M3 or whistle prematurely. So first of all, you won't want to do that. And then second of all, head voice and whistle, M2 and M3 respectively, are what I like to call air bending mechanisms or air bending registers, where you really are leaning on airflow and shaping airflow and air pressure to achieve these sounds with minimal exertion from the actual vocal folds. If you're trying to whistle like, you're doing it wrong. You should be trying to go for whistle like, and then eventually comes out through breath, not. And once you get whistle and you find it, you can do some of those pig squeals if that's your fetish, but you shouldn't, and thank you for the likes to the video, those of you who liked, but you shouldn't do that as your default. You shouldn't like come out the cut and be like, ah! I'm right, Carrie. What? Okay, and then the Fire Nation attacked. Oh my God, say that. Oh, I hate you. And Grandma Nazi, you are trolling. I am done. I am done. I don't know what you like. I think you are accomplishing, like trolling my small ass little corner of YouTube. There are like way more important people to troll. Did I miss anybody's questions? So big, bold, and beautiful. Oh my God. Thank you, Dakota. Can you tell me an order on how to learn to sing, like first breath? I'm going to have an article out pretty soon on my wiki about the 4 pillars of how I teach, like my 4 central dogma of voice. So those are tone, texture, whatever, modifying the color of your voice. 2 is technique / ornamentation, doing little tricks with your voice. 3 is range, using like mechanisms and doing high notes and low notes. And 4 is vocal health and whatever. So I think first you should learn your way around those concepts and learn sort of consistent scientific ways to refer to those things so you can express what you want to do with your voice. So first learn the terminology, and then use that terminology to figure out where is my voice now, and where do I want it to be, and what do I need to get it there. So then you figure that out, because not everybody needs to work on breath. Not everybody needs to work on posture. And posture is a lie. Like you can do stuff with bad posture. Like as long as you're not in some horribly contorted position where your like airway is kinked up, you can do whatever you want. Like Fergie can belt and cartwheels. It's not that serious. Oh, thank you, Tom. Daniel asked, do I have any vocal range exercises? You can't spell, that's fine. Like if there's hella misspellings, I'm gonna think you a troll, but I understand, like I'm a linguist. Linguists care the least about language in a way. Like we're the least grammar Nazis. You learn how pointless grammar Nazism is when you learn grammar as intensely as a linguist. So, do I have any vocal range exercises? The one size fits all vocal range exercise is sirens. I like sirens so much more than stupid little like, let me not say stupid because somebody probably does these, but like. This is a waste of time. So I like sirens better, where you just go like, ooh, and just like slide through your range comfortably. Because if you slide nice and quick and easy, it's like it's at your own pace. You're not like, oh shit, here comes the high note. This is the part I cannot do. And like you get to a part that is difficult for you, and you're like, oh, here's why I fail every time, because you run the little warm-up pitch things with those little scale drills. You run them the same way every day. Well, this is what a lot of people do. And you're like, oh no, I can't maintain, I can't hold on. And you just keep failing at these parts over and over because you develop this rhythm of here comes the hard part. As opposed to when you slide, you don't pick a specific note, you just slide when you feel comfortable. You start to slide more and more widely as you get comfortable. That sort of lets you build your range and get comfortable with it and make it all feel interconnected at your own pace. How do you sound like Beyonce? You don't. Beyonce, it's so weird because Beyonce, especially the people in the Black community that listen to like a lot of singers in the Black church or whatever, like Beyonce is amazing, but she also, especially early career Beyonce, has a very like quotidian voice. It's so weird because she is so good, but so like girl next door at the same time. Like there's nothing crazy about her voice. Like some of her runs can be kind of crazy. Like the fact that she can sing like that and dance the way she does is crazy. But like the texture of her voice like sounds like anybody. But it's this thing that you can't like point out people that sound exactly like her as easy in the mainstream. Because I guess like her era of when everybody was trying to sound like that is gone. But like most Black people, not most Black people, but a lot of Black people will feel like, yeah, Beyonce sounds like anyone, like a really, 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 really good anyone. Do I have a preferred, hello Bob, do I have a preferred method of vocal warm-up? How do I suggest that one warms up each day? Marnell Sample had a pretty good video on this. I don't know what the title of the video was, but warm-up should be suited to what your vocal needs are, what your voice naturally is good at, what it struggles with, and what you want to do with your voice. And you should keep all those things in mind when picking a warm-up regimen. But if you want like a one-size-fits-all warm-up, the warm-ups I think are best are what I call reverse pendulum sirens. So you slide up and down through your range, and you start sliding through where you're comfortable, and then you start to push it wider and wider and start going like a little bit lower than you're comfortable with, a little bit higher than you're comfortable with. And you go further and further each time. So that'd be like, ooh, So you start to slide more and more widely, and it should still feel comfortable because you should only be pushing that bit by bit. You start to acclimate and get more comfortable with the extremes of your range. So that's one warm up. And the other warm up and cool down I like to do is yawning. So being able to yawn on command and vocalize on it is a good stock ability to have. Because it can sort of reset anything that might be straining inside your vocal tract. It's also one size fits all warm-ups. But say if you're like me, and your mucus is just out of control, your mucus doesn't know when to stop, you might want to do like I do a fry warm-up sometimes to like really click my vocal folds together and get the mucus out of them. So mucus really messes me up in whistle register. So I'll do a vocal fry in M3 or whistle register to sort of do some house cleaning, clean out the demons. And that would be like, isn't it beautiful? So after doing that for a little while, the whistle comes out a little bit more cleanly. So rather than like that my default, which I might get unintended vocal fry in my whistle if I go like, so that was me like intentionally, somewhat intentionally. I don't try that hard to get that error, like getting fry at the outset of my M3 that I did not mean to get. Oh my God. Yes, Dakota, thank you. That was the real magic. Dakota keeping Grandma Nazi quiet is the real magic. Like honestly, what was I gonna say? Put user in timeout. Can I put you in forever? Oh shit, it gave me credit. I don't know, we just gonna have to keep. Yeah, like why? Why would you do that when you could be learning? Okay, let's see if there's any more questions on Discord. No questions on Discord. So yes, that was my warm-up thing. Okay, thank you, Dakota. You have leveled up. Okay, so M3 with that horrendous frying sound is a good warm-up for me, but if you're not planning to use M3, that's not going to be helpful for you. So it's super helpful for me, but it might not be helpful for somebody that doesn't want to use M3. So because of that, you should really figure out what you want to do with your voice and find a warm-up that works for you. Like, don't let people give you the mama mimo papi people. Like don't let them just give you that and not address your specific vocal needs. Like, a consonant is not going to save your throat. Who will save the throat? God, why does water taste sweet? Must be the diabetes. No more questions? We got like a whole 10 minutes. Y'all just going to storm me with questions when this is over. It's going to be 8:29. Somebody asked me to sing the U.S. Constitution. Jesus will. Alvin, you ain't got no questions. Whew. No change of scenery. Am I still even visible? Let me look at my Hangouts screen. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, yes, I am still visible. And y'all not just looking at my tits. Oh, damn, these sleeveless shirts make me look so masculine. Ooh, that fan is good. That fan is good to me. No. So I think I have one more question. Daniel says, even though you told this to me, but I have one more question. If you're belting and trying to hit a high note and strain, how can you fix this? Well, first, as a prerequisite, before you belt, and the way I define belting is bringing your chest voice. I would get your M2 really strong in that range. Like I would learn how to, and a lot of people call that mixing. I would learn how to use a quote unquote head mix in that range, or M2 in that range, and be really good and powerful and consistent with that, because it gives you perspective on like how to hit those notes without straining. And then if you try to learn how to belt and you're still straining uncomfortably, if it doesn't hurt, then like be patient, keep belting, and maybe the sound might get better as you get used to it. But if it hurts, you can sort of yawn into a belt, or you can do a semi-occlusive vocal tract drill, like bilabial trill or lip bubble with a belt. It's like, so blowing into my lips might help me like not clamp down on my vocal cords as much. How do you mix? Oh, yes, Alvin, I would like some breathiness on you. Satan, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm not singing no damn Constitution. My burps are so professional. I don't even realize how much I burp. Like I know I burp a lot, but I don't even like recall half the time when I'm burping. Or it might be like my short-term memory being consumed by the Benadryl, but that's a breathy Mariah Carey, like, I want to know about this. I want you. Wait, what? Whoa, no, 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 no. No. No, I'm here. It's saying I'm live. It's showing me. It's saying I have 8 viewers. What the hell? Oh damn, that was scary. It's like you don't understand. Like I was so mad about last week. Well, I don't know where it cut off, but I'll just start the entire explanation again. But like, can you see over there the modem? Like I am right next to the damn router or whatever. This internet better not drop. I came too far for it to drop. I'm not featuring that. Let me see. People liking my memes. Oh, never mind. Okay, so answering. Y'all still hear me? Y'all still hear me? No, Roger things, no H's and runs. If you want actual runs like pop singers do, no H's, right? Jesus be a modem. So no H's. No, that hurts me. No H's. There's a series called Breaking Down the Riffs with Natalie Weiss. Look that up. That's a good way to start learning about the art and science of runs. If you find that your voice can't move that fast, I do have some curriculum, but honestly, some of your questions I think are better handled in a lesson, or if you start like learning about the things that you're asking about, which by all means use my Discord server, ask questions on there, but there's sort of like there's stuff that you have to understand before the questions that you're asking. So you have to understand that like putting H's in runs does not sound natural. So like the first episode of Breaking Down the Rest with Natalie Weiss features the Halo run from Beyonce, Beyonce's Halo. And it's like, hit me like a ray of sun, but through my darkest nights. So it's nights, not nights. There's no H. Don't do that. Oh, those are the most corny runs. I don't know who told you that, but that is such a mistake. Those runs are an artifact. Okay. So, Alvin and breathiness. So speaking of H's, Alvin and the breathiness question. So, a lot of what makes people sound struggly while they're being breathy is they hear breathy and they're like, oh, breathing, I know that one. And they will like just exhale because they hear breathy, they think breathing. So if I'm doing like a Mariah Carey breathy, like, I want to go without this. I want you to show me. And like I'm breathing out. Not only do I run out of air quicker, but the quality of the breathiness isn't naturally what people tend to use. But if I let my vocal folds get more loose and lax and I increase the space between them, more air can escape through my vocal folds without without being vibrated by my vocal folds. So that air that doesn't get vibrated sounds like breathiness. So, I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. So that breathiness I can do without exerting myself much more. Yeah. Yeah. So the singers that Alvin mentions in the comments are good for getting exposure to runs and sort of having more familiarity with runs. I would recommend, if runs don't come naturally to you, or even if they do, to watch run breakdowns, because that really can change the game of how you look at and interpret runs. Y'all still hearing me? You're welcome. Yes, don't butcher them with no H's. It's a white people move. Oh. Oh my God. Yes, Dakota. Yes. Shout out to Dakota for modding down her troll. Really though? Really? The stream just did that. They just did that. It just did that. I'm sitting right here up on this router. I am a quantum singularity with this damn router, and it's still gonna Okay. Did you get the yodel? That was a dedication to you, Throw. Can you feel the sadness in my existence? It is rude. Thank you, Alvin. Okay. One last time, the yodel climax from the Romanian Eurovision song dedicated to you, Throw. Wait, what? Oh, no, I thought you were saying no. No yodel. This is a no yodel zone. Okay, so that is that. I'm done. I'm signing off before this signs my ass back off again. I am so upset. Bye, y'all.